Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Business Live. Our top stories tonight: Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority charges officials of the Customs Division to enhance systems data collection, especially at the ports. Also coming up, Finance Ministry says increment in transport fares is unfortunate and downplays any negative impact on the economy. Also coming up tonight, Printers and Paper Converters Association says prices of textbooks will go down as members start printing locally this year. We'll have details in a moment. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us tonight. The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, Emmanuel Kofi, has charged officials at the Customs Division to improve data collection, especially at the ports of entry. This, he said, is very critical in the quest to synchronize operations at the ports and to ensure a smooth running of activities. He made the remarks during an interaction with staff of the Customs Division of the GRA in Accra. There's more in the following report.
The GRA boss was inspecting progress of work for the electronic or e-zone project in Accra. The Ghana Revenue Authority, as part of measures to improve revenue collection, began the e-zone as a component of the single window project. During an interaction with officers of the division, Commissioner General of the GRA, Emmanuel Kofi, noted that the operations will be more effective through the use of electronic services.
When there's data, you cannot hide. Most of when you are doing biometric, and then being able to access and have entry to use. And for me, that's one significant thing that I'm picking today, that the biometric allows us to know who came at what time and they were at work. And then, so if we have it through the whole system, it's a way to look at the work. And so, as I'm talking now, I'm saying it to all our staff that the days that we could go and do some work and not be known for what we did, those days are gone. Once you have to use biometric to enter, you can be held to what you do. So there's greater justification to want to do good work now than even before.
The Commissioner General also used the opportunity to evaluate the single window project so far after its implementation commenced about a year ago. He spoke to Joy Business after the interactions on some of the measures government is putting in place to encourage effective operations.
We are working at that, and we want to improve the system that we have in place. We want to make the system better than what we have now, and that's our vision going forward. The challenges in that area is to look at the sanctioning regime that we have and make our sanctioning regime stronger so that at the end of the day, it isn't us who are being accused, but then the people come and attract our people and get them to fault. They also bear the consequences. So it's a two-pronged approach that we'll be adopting to deal with the issues.
The e-zone program by the GRA is part of recommendation by the World Trade Organization to harmonize services at the port.
Now, the Printers and Paper Converters Association says prices of textbooks will go down as members start printing locally this year, hinting of reducing the price of services in 2017. President Akufo-Addo has re-emphasized giving contracts to local printers to improve the fortunes of the local printing industry and to create more jobs. To further facilitate their work, government also announced the scrapping of the special import levy on raw materials. Now, speaking to Joy Business, President of the association, James Apia-Beko, revealed that local printers are undergoing training in order to remain competitive in the industry.
Look at how to reduce cost and increase efficiency to increase profitability. In increasing profitability, we will have to make sure that we can bring down prices to prove our point that when taxes are reduced, when removable levies are taken away, then it's also incumbent upon us to make sure that our production cost is lower. We would make more profit and would therefore be able to reduce the selling prices of our commodities. We are organizing training courses for our members. We have a whole range of members, right from super large or large in Ghanaian terms, and ultra small printing outfits. The need to acquire various skills and various practices that make for good production and good business, corporate governance, meeting tax obligations, properly costing products, and taking good care of human resource and the like. We are taking the lead to look at all such issues and offer a platform for our people and for our members to acquire such skills, and also give them the motivation that the future looks bright.
In other news tonight, the local currency from the beginning of this year has gone up by almost 1% against the dollar. In the first quarter of 2017, it is currently trading at 4 cedis 16 pesos and is the best since December 2016. The public debt, as well as the interest that government is paying on loans, are expected to be the immediate beneficiaries of the city's good run. Let's speak with a currency analyst, Derek Mensah. Let's make sense of all of this. Thanks for joining us tonight on the program. The city's appreciation, what's your assessment? Artificial, or it can be sustained?
Well, it's been a very good run over the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've seen this currency, the city appreciate against the dollar. Now it's trading somewhere around 4.2 on an average on the bank market, and that's very positive for us. We think that it's going to be, it will be able to sustain. The key thing was the investors didn't get, there was a lot of uncertainty on the market, especially after that news broke on the deficit situation. So once there's been some clarity in terms of government focusing on borrowing locally or using local, as in borrowing debt, using local currency debt to finance this deficit, we did not expect too much pressure from the dollar. So it's just investors finally reacting to the clarity that the market has provided.
Okay, tell me more about what is driving this investment in bonds by these foreign investors.
Could you come back again? The line was quite...
Yes, I'm asking what is driving the interest of these foreign investors in our bonds, which we hear is contributing to the city's appreciation.
Well, the yield, given the outlook, you realize that the economic outlook for Ghana is positive. Even from the World Bank assessment, you can see that the outlook is positive. So at the moment, you would like to, if you're an investor, you would like to be holding some form of fixed income or some form of debt, sovereign debt against Ghana, because the outlook is very positive. Again, if the outlook is positive, you are likely to see yields come down. So if you are getting an average of about 7 to 9% yield on your bond, it's likely to possibly in about a year or two's time, you're probably going to see this come off a bit. So it's better to get in now, and hopefully you'll be able to trade it for higher when yields come off. So it's mainly optimism with regards to the economic outlook.
And who's going to be benefiting from this appreciation?
Well, everybody, basically, because we are an import-driven economy. At least for the moment, we are import-driven. When the exchange rate stabilizes or we see some appreciation of the cedi, you realize that it will impact inflation. It impacts everything else. You will even see that currently export prices at the fuel stations have come off a bit. So it's impacting you and I. It also impacts the trader, the importer, and it goes through every facet of the economy. So a stable exchange rate, and better yet, even an appreciation of the cedi, is very positive news for us. I don't think the exporters will be happy with this, but largely we are import driven. So.
All right, Derek, let's go back to the subject of sustainability. There are speculations that this could last till August. Do you think so?
Yeah, I sometimes get a bit. I mean, you can't really. Nobody has a crystal ball to be looking through to know how the city is going to perform in 3 months' time, because a lot of factors are at play here. It's investor sentiment. Sentiment can twist at any time. But given the outlook, looking at the inflows coming in on the foreign currency side, I'm yet to see the reserves for the Bank of Ghana. But given the bonds that have come through, we are also looking at commodity prices remaining fairly stable. That's crude oil prices remaining fairly stable. We think that on a net basis, we should see some form of stability coming through, and a lot of optimism also from the investor point of view. So whilst a lot of investors would have been speculating, or there will be a lot of speculative attacks against the city, it generally seems that the economic outlook will be positive. So you don't want to be doing that kind of speculation against the city. So all of this is adding up to the stability, which I think can be sustained, but as to putting a timeline on it, that will be just probably taking a very wild guess.
I guess we'll just remain optimistic. Thanks very much for your time. That was Derek Mensah, a currency analyst. Let's talk about transport fares. Now, the new transport fares, which were announced early this week, finally took effect this morning, attracting lots of displeasure from patrons of public transport. Some passengers on board commercial vehicles in Accra are obviously not happy with the new increment in lorry fares.
The 15% increment in transport fares is going to take effect. We have heard from passenger drivers who are content with the 15% increment. But what about the vehicles that load goods outside of Accra and even for distribution in some parts of Accra? We will be hearing from the drivers and also their opinion on this 15% increment.
We take a bag of 50 kilo to, let's say, Kumasi Asante region, it's 3 cedis per bag, as it was. But as now it is, there's an increment of 15%. We will calculate a 15% out of the 3 cedis and add it to the old price, making it 3 cedis 45 pesos.
We will take it like that, but past 1 year we have been facing these challenges, and now that the government has come out to increase it some little bit for it, we will take it like that. But we are preferring to be increased even more than that.
I say maybe I follow
a load from here to Dansuman used to be 150 Ghana cedis, but now with the increment, if you tell the customer you are going to charge about 200 Ghana cedis, or add 30 Ghana cedis to make it 180 Ghana cedis, they will refuse to pay, and it's affecting us.
So we have heard from the drivers and also the chairman of the association. And indeed, there's going to be an increase of 15% when it comes to the loading of goods to be distributed wherever you're sending your good. Now, this they think is good, but they would have preferred an increase. Nonetheless, they also think that there's going to be a problem in this business because customers will find it too expensive to load their goods. Reporting from the Achimota Charcoal Station in Accra, Sheila Tamaklo.
Well, we are getting reaction from the Finance Ministry on the increase in transport fares. They are describing the increment as unfortunate, but downplaying any negative impact on the economy. Commercial transport operators, as we've been telling you, have increased their fares by 15%, and they're citing the cost of operations since last year. But the ministry has maintained that looking at the recent reduction in petroleum products and taxes, it was the expectations that fares wouldn't have gone up. There are fears the adjustments in fares could also erode marginal gains made in stabilizing the economy. But Deputy Minister of Finance, Kweku Kwarteng, disagrees.
When the increments were announced, I personally did indicate that government ought to engage with transport owners and get to the bottom of this. Some engagements have happened since then. And the case the transport owners are making is that for 2 years, they have not increased fares, even though we have seen increase in some of their inputs, the cost of their inputs, fuel and others in the past 2 years. they have not increased fares. So they had planned this much before even the 2017 budget statement was approved. Now, and therefore they had to increase that. I still wish they hadn't done that. I wish they had taken note of the good things that have come in this budget, and perhaps absorb some of the costs they have incurred in the past, hoping that in the new environment they will make gains. But they have. What we also have to recognize is that fuel prices have gone down marginally. If you look at fuel consumption, the consumption by industry is big. The consumption by big machinery that moves goods, heavy goods around, is big. Those ones have not been increased by 15%. The cost of haulage, for instance, in the mining sector, has not increased because fuel prices are down. The increments we are seeing is largely in the public transport sector, the trotros and the taxis. There are many of our citizens who patronize the services of these public means of transport. So any increment in that is worrying. But
welcome back to the program. Time now for Business Agenda with Kuku Aban.
Another Thursday, and you're welcome to the Business Agenda. It is powered by Joy Business in association with myjoyonline.com/business. And today's agenda throws the spotlight on customer service, especially on telephone communications in the banking sector, where the chief executive of market research company Wallsbridge, that's Kofi Asamoah, is making a case for banks to decentralize their call centers. This is coming on the heels of a research which has been recently conducted, which shows that out of 100 phone calls made by bank customers to have their issues addressed, only 21 of them gets answered. This, Mr. Asamoah believes, should be addressed, and it should cause the banks to decentralize their call centers.
We don't have dedicated people whose job it is to first and foremost answer phone calls. Because if you do, then the person may be doing other things, but as long as the phone is ringing, their job will be to attend to you. So for example, remember that the 21% is the industry average, which means that some are better than others. In fact, the institution that scored the highest in terms of response rate scored, I think, 53%. Okay. As to why you would call some branches and they never pick up, or it goes through and they never pick up, or as to why you call and the number is constantly engaged for months. Yes, for months, we can't tell. But for some reason, there are some of the banks that, irrespective of the branch you call, you have more than 50% chance that somebody will pick up and call. That is good, but even that is still low. So, for example, instead of, if you can set up a call center, hire 2, 3, 4, 5 people to sit down there and just receive phone calls, we think that it's also be possible for us to get similar, setup at the branch level. Okay. And our focus is at the branch level. Okay. So that people can confidently get information as and when they want.
So you just heard the chief executive of market research company Wallsbridge, Kofi Asamoah there. Now, what reaction to this particular call? Well, banking consultant and head of the Osei Tutu Center for Executive Education and Research, Nana Otue Champon, disagrees with the call for the decentralization of the call centers. According to him, the current call center system is the best way out.
I'm not surprised, but then it's garbage in, garbage out. The research probably targeted the wrong issue, in the sense that banking has moved on from the days when queries were handled at the branch level, and now it's centralized to a call center. And then, without exception, all the universal banks now have 24/7 call centers. Those call centers are equipped to be able to handle customers' queries 24 hours of the day. You know, the 9-to-5 banking is not convenient for somebody who is also in a 9-to-5 job. So after work, if they have a query, then they should be able to access to the required information that they need. And so I think what they should have done should have been to look at the call centers and see how they will handle the telephone calls.
Is that to rubbish the report?
Not at all, not at all. It's a good start that they have done. But my suggestion is that moving forward, they should use the right targets. That if they had called, approached the call centers and they had received that 21% response rate, then it would have been bad. But with the call centers being manned 24 hours, I think it's a good start, but not the best.
So that was banking consultant and head of the Osei Tutu Center for Executive Education and Research, Nana Utu Echampong. Do make a date with us next week for another edition of the Business Agenda. It is powered by Joy Business in association with myjoyonline.com/business.
Our interview of the day now, and banks have been urged to consider the findings of the Banking Industry Telephony Efficiency BITE Index as an opportunity to improve their customer service and operations in general. Earlier, some bank customers confirmed they have not been treated well by banks with regards to their requests. Now, the study by market research firm Wallsbridge revealed that only 21 of every 100 phone calls bank customers make eventually get answered. Banking consultant Nana Utu Echampong also shares some opinion. He told Joy Business the research provides some useful lessons for growth of the banking industry.
It's a very useful report, which is now going to goad the banks to ensure that they publicize their call centers to be able to handle the queries 24/7. There has been instances, not only with banks, but with other companies that when you call, when they have answered, even to be able to connect you to the right department, either midstream, the phone drops from either your end or the other end, and on all those sorts of things. So therefore, the research should be able to help the target groups, i.e. the banks, to improve their services.
And how critical is this for the growth of the banking industry?
Well, because of what I've said about the call centers now doing the jobs that the branches should have done, I think the use of the call center should be able to ratify or correct this anomaly and improve things better.
And that's it for Business Live. Thanks for watching. We are back same time tomorrow.